Hey, I'm Jamie Star Spitz with Spruce Road, and in this video, we are going to walk through a full case study of a brand using solely typography. You aren't going to want to miss how I'm dissecting how everything works from the logo type to a final full layout design with full content. So let's go ahead and dig in. This is a PDF I'm going to walk through that's included in my teaser, my upcoming course. Called Type Driven Brand. And this is the showcase where I'm revealing brands, concept brands that I've designed, as well as student work and hopefully your student work in the future. That's going to be a great tool to uncover nice layouts, seeing the brand in action, as well as the fonts in use. So let's go ahead and dig into our full case study, which is going to be for Quinns. We walked through bits and pieces of this over the last few videos. This is the full brand reveal of Quinns. This is a concept project that I created specifically as a case study for this course that I'm creating all about typography. And I want to walk through the logo type, submarks, and layout design and how they all work typographically together. So we have this main logo type here. I've included kind of an expanded, I guess I would use this on packaging or like a badge or something like that with this nice floral element. But you can see how I've just included different kind of typographic systems on the side here. And this is what I'm calling a brand card. So I feel like to see a brand in action, you have to go beyond like what's traditionally known as like a brand board, where you have this long document, usually a white background, that really uncovers the color swatches used, the hex values, the typography used, and it just shows like elements of the brand, almost like a brand style guide, like abbreviated. And you need to go beyond that, not only just for you as a designer to make sure that you're creating a brand that expands beyond that brand board, but also works in application. And these are really great for promoting your studio as well as on your portfolio. So I could use something like this on Dribbble, Behance, my portfolio, or Instagram for a brand reveal. And so I'm just calling these brand cards. I don't know what other designers call them, but that's what I'm going to call them. So just so you know. And you see here on the right, I've got all the typefaces used. This is for our showcase. So my idea is that we'll have like hundreds of pages in this document eventually, just walking through several brand cards so you can get inspiration on layout design, type design, and also some new fun font finds. So if you're designing a new brand, you can come back to this resource and kind of do some research here as well. So I've got the main logo type here, kind of a supporting graphic, and I've got just the submark repeated here. This is a simple designer trick to create symmetry in a layout. It's just go ahead and just repeat this sucker on the top. This is for concept, so I don't have any other content to really work with. And then I've just got the established date on the side here. And I feel like this creates a really balanced layout, and the type all works well together because this is the centerpiece literally. And also just our eye goes to this point here. And then these are kind of secondary elements on the side. And here's the brand all together. We walked through and dissected this more in depth. If you missed that, head back to the last video where I dissected type and I walk through the logo type here and why it works with these submarks. And another form of a brand card I'd love to create is some sort of longer form copy. So these are really great to incorporate the different kind of submarks and logo type together. But what helps me as a designer, and I'm sure if I was to pass this off to a web designer, they would be thankful as well, is to create some more longer form content. This is all just kind of sample content here. If a client didn't give us sample content, we would just create something beyond lorem ipsum and just put in some sort of like headline, a body copy, and then a button. And this helps you as a designer to see the type in action and to create a system that will work and have longevity and be versatile beyond locked up into logo type and submarks and maybe that one specific collateral you're creating for a client and into a system that works long-term for a client or a brand. But this layout works really well because it's really easy as a designer. Come up with some sort of photography here that supports the brand, doesn't distract from it. This is a really easy layout, half and half split I got this from Unsplash, I believe, just some free stock photos here. I've got my logo type up here, and you can see that this is really distinct and set apart from the rest of the type here. When you're creating a full type-driven brand, that's something that's really important to create, is a logo type that sets itself apart from the rest of the typography. If I had used the same font up here as Quinn's as Become the Ultimate Plant Parent, you would have to do some more kind of designer finessing to get those things to separate and really be distinct from one another. Not to say you can't use the same font, because we've done that with clients as well, for logo type as well as kind of headline fonts, but you just need to be careful about that. Make sure you're doing some sort of customization in the logo type that sets it apart. But overall, this works really well because these relate to each other. As I talked more in depth when I walked through this slide in the type dissected video, they relate to each other. These two fonts, I feel like, work really well together. And then this serif is very legible, but also kind of a friendly serif font and not too classic and stuffy. And it's also not too modern or full of like playful personality. So I feel like it works well with this type here. That's more kind of distinguished and classic, but again, not like very formal and classic. And then a simple sans here works great for buttons and subheads. And then we've got our nice submark down here below. I love to incorporate logo type and submark together along with some type here to really help you see the brand in action on these brand cards. And lastly, we've got the final layout design. I'm going to open up this other PDF here so you can see it more in depth, but I've created a 3-page PDF. All of this is the final project for my type-driven brand course, which again, I'm going to talk just a little bit about at the end of this video. But by the end of it, you will have created these brand cards with a custom logo type, custom submarks, and type system, as well as a 3-page PDF. So here is what this PDF looks like. We design thousands of pages of PDF a year for our clients. Layout design is kind of my background as a print designer. And so I love digging in specifically to how to create type-driven layout designs. And this is something that as designers, brand designers, maybe we're not as versed in. We focus, especially in school, more on the branding side, the logo side of things, and less on actually using type in a publication design. And this is where, honestly, most of our clients come to us for these kind of layout projects. We've designed several books. Like I said, thousands of pages of PDFs a year for printables or guides or e-course workbooks, things like that. And so this is our entire process distilled down into some tutorial videos, as well as some process videos on creating a type-driven layout design. So I've got the cover page here, and in the project, once you dive into the course, you'll see this content already created for you. We've got a cover page that uses minimal type. We've got an interior page, which uses more of a hierarchy, logistical form of type. And then the final page, which is more long form content, and how to divide that up in a way that's visually pleasing, as well as really guides the user through the story and through the page strategically, while also creating some interest, because that can be hard to do without any graphics. So I share kind of tips on that. But why this works is I've got this main kind of headline here, a descriptor, but it also works because I blocked it off. And so it's nice to see that this is at the bottom here is kind of like that secondary, more logistical information. Like if you're thinking about packaging design, this could be like the weight of the product or where it's made or like the ingredients or something like that. This is more of that kind of secondary information. And then this is the main information up here. So it's a really simple trick of just simply color blocking it. Even using subtle colors helps with that. And then the type, again, this is all established through those brand cards that we've created, and just transitioning that over into the PDF design. Typically, I don't turn a logo on its side, but it works here. And I'm going to share why, layout wise. I've pulled in this Q, and it's actually at the exact same spot here. And so this is kind of an element, a brand element that you can create harmony between the cover and the interior pages. And also it's repeated here on this side. So you could think of this page as kind of like a restaurant menu or packaging design or table of contents, whatever it may be. But this is a struggle for a lot of us as designers, is how to lay out content when you have a lot of it strategically in a way that builds hierarchy, but also builds in some interest. So I'm going to zoom in here on a little bit of this so you can see more of the type. I pulled in some graphic elements, just briefly pulling from the brand pattern and some of those custom icons I created, and I pulled in those. I love to share those as like bullet points or kind of like divider elements that again brings in more of that concept to the brand rather than just using a line or a circle or something like that. And so that really helps to bring that uniqueness to the brand as well as the concept that we talked about earlier. And here you can see the hierarchy. We've got the main kind of headlines here. Maybe these are sections within this booklet. And then each of these here are kind of the different attributes within the section, and then page number distilled down. So it's really important to create a typographic system that works in hierarchy and in application. I think it's one thing, again, to create those brand cards and another to actually transition this type into application, which is why I've created this project at the end, which is this 3-page PDF. And then here's the final page, which again, we're bringing back this element up here, this custom cue, a part of the logo type that we created, and it mirrors this on the front page. And so that's kind of a nice tie-in. Again, bringing in this specific brand element just really subtly. It's even used down here on bullet points. And you don't have to do something like this, but I love incorporating kind of elements like this that are specific to the brand. And it gives us designers something to play with when working with layouts. But why this works is it's a very simple layout. This is nice and big. There's plenty of space around it, so it's not tight or stressed. There's not any tension. It's very legible type, and I'm not afraid to go a little bit big here on kind of this main intro section. And then below this is really nice because I love whenever you have longer form content to have some kind of grid built in for these extra elements that you can add in, whether it's a pull quote or you can add in a photo or graphic element or like a quick tip or something like that. And in our case, I've built in some of these kind of customer profiles, the brand emotions and about the different customers. This is kind of the brand guide for Quince that we've created. And this pulls in the brand story here. And so it's really easy to navigate, but it's also nice because it's a thoughtful, intentional layout without just kind of a bunch of copy all together like you would see in a chapter book or something like that. And so that's how the brand plays together, from logo type to submarks to the PDF layout design. So you can see everything working well together. I think it's very important as designers that we go that extra step into layout design that a lot of us are kind of intimidated by or not sure how to create as creative layouts when it comes to type-driven brands specifically. And so I've really distilled this down to make it a really great project for you to kind of flex that creativity and focus on the type. Now I want to walk through one more design with our showcase project. I'm just going to quickly run through the rest of the showcase so you can see there's other examples here of my work and hopefully other mentors later. But this is the student showcase. So we had, when I was creating this program, I had about 5 designers come alongside me to help create the program, as well as help them build their own portfolio piece with their type-driven brand project. And Emma Whipple is one of those designers who thankfully joined the pilot group and helped me create this program. And I love the final result that she created. And so her brand is called Roots Coffee Shop. She used our creative brief and kind of twisted it for her own brand and created this whole fictional brand, from custom logo type to submarks to the layout design, all using our entire type-driven brand system. And so you can see the type in use here is Dia Bold. She customized this for Roots. We worked on this custom R and the O's here, and I can't remember if the T is customized or not, but this works really well because the R specifically kind of has a nice negative space with this O. It kind of kicks underneath it. and everything really works well together. Specifically this works nice as it does with the S. It really kind of mirrors that same type of kick, I guess you could call it, at the very end. And that's what you want in a logo type if you're customizing, is to make sure it works seamlessly with the rest of the letter forms. And so Emma's done a great job doing that. It's a very distinctive typeface. It's not something you would find on like a PC or something like that. It's a custom logo type. And then she's used Brie Extra Bold for over here on this sans serif. And she just kind of repeated those same fonts throughout here. And I love the final layout design she created. She really focused on those first 2 pages that we talked about in the PDF, which is the kind of more simple copy here, which is just the logo, and this nice custom graphic that I love the color she chose, as well as the connection to roots. There's a concept here behind it, but it's very in the background. You can tell that she didn't design the graphic first and then kind of figure out where's the type going to go. She really designed in a strategic way that you can tell that the type is very intentional, and there's a lot of craftsmanship behind it. And then the second layout here is more of that logistical hierarchy example. And she did a sample menu for Roots Coffee Shop. This is a great portfolio piece for Emma. And I think it just looks really lovely, really, really balanced. A lot of the type, I'm going to zoom in here. You can tell like this logo type here is really set apart from the rest of the brand, which we talked about is very important when creating a type-driven brand. And then the rest of this is very legible, easy to follow, easy to understand. And that's what you want in a menu, right? You want to be able to easily glance at it, figure out what you want, how much is that going to cost, and make your decision. And so Emma did a good job on that. She also uses coffee bean as kind of like a separator element, which I love that kind of custom touch as well. When I asked Emma about how her experience was a type-driven brand, she said that the step-by-step process of the type-driven brand course gave me clarity and confidence, as well as all the resources that I can use time and time again. Through the course homework, I was able to create a brand that I felt proud to add to my portfolio. Thank you, Jamie. And that's my goal with Type-Driven Brand, is to help you create a portfolio piece, an end product, all using typography. So Type-Driven Brand opens up on Monday. If you are watching this, it's opening up soon. If you're watching this soon after I released it, if you are watching later, you can certainly still join in whenever it's opens again. But this is the very first time that I'm opening up Type-Driven Brand. And so it's going to be at a grand opening price is what I'm calling it. And you'll get access to the course moving forward. So as this showcase grows to hundreds of pages, you will have that at your disposal to come back to later. You will have all the tutorials as I walk through creating a custom logo type, submarks, as well as this 3-page PDF, all of our favorite type foundries, and some extra goodies I'm going to announce next week as well. So I look forward to hopefully seeing you there, and I'm looking forward to also nerding out more about typography with you.